Now, look at this. They've taken the battery out of this one. This is the power company. They're sending the electricity. Around from the power company back to the power company. Now, in reality, they don't send the electricity, the white wire, the return all the way back to the power company. It goes into the dirt, into the ground. It's just as effective. So it goes from the power company around your house and then right into the ground outside your house. And it's just fine. But nonetheless, let's pretend it goes back to the power company like this picture shows. All right, it goes through the lamp to the power company. Now, this is 20 amps and we got a fuse here. We're going to learn more about fuses in a bit. Now, when you wake up in the morning, we're going to follow a storyline here. All three of these things are off when you wake up in the morning. So how many amps, how much current is going through your house when you wake up in the morning? If all of these are off, 0 amps. This 20 amps is if they're all on. All right. Now, you wake up and you click on your lamp. Now, how much current is going through? Now, a lot would love to go through because, hey, you can get to the pot of gold. But this lamp limits the current to 2 amps. The lamp has a thin wire inside, so only 2 amps can go trickle, trickle, trickle through. $1 billion. Trickle, trickle, trickle through. $1 billion. But only 2 amps at a time can do it. 2 amps. So you're only 2 amps are only going through your house, and that's all you're going to be paying for. Now, next, the heater clicks on. The heater clicks on. Now, how much electricity is going through your wires here? So you got 2. Now you have all this piled up. 2 is going to go this way, and all this other electricity goes, yes, there's more pathways to here. It's excited that the heater's on. Because that means you have 2 options to get to here. So some's going to go this way, and some is going to go through this heater, which takes 10 amps. Now, how much current is going through? 12. 12 is going through here. Now, 2 peeled off and went this way. 2 amps went this way of the 12, which means that how many went this way? 10. So this piece of wire here, holding the 12, has more current going through it than this piece here. This piece has 12 because it's feeding this and this. But 2 peels off, this piece is only feeding the heater, so that's only 10. More would like to go through it, believe me, if it could. If it could fit 12, 13, 14, it would go through there. But the heater, its wires only allow 10 amps through. Now, you turn on your toaster. That's an 8 amp toaster. Now how much total is going through this segment here? Well, this part is allowing 2 through this 10 and this 8. They like to think about it almost like speed limits. The analogy falls apart in ways, but this allows 2 miles per hour through 10 miles per hour through 8 miles per hour through. So, I like to think of that as 2 plus 10 plus 8. That's 20. That's where they get the 20. 20 shoots through here. 2 peel off this way. So how much is this piece holding it? If it was 20 and 2 peeled off down this street, that leaves only 18. 10 and 8. Now, 10 of that 18 go this way, which means that this piece has 8 going through it. If my wires are going to overheat and melt, which part will they overheat and melt at? Up here, or down here? Down here. This part is part of the highway that feeds the lamp, the heater, and the toaster. Traffic is worst where in Las Vegas? In the middle or the outside? In the middle. Because that part, everybody's passing through the middle. Those roads hold everybody that's passing near or far. But once you get to the edges of town, the road empties out. People peel off and go to my home here. This person goes to his home here. And only a few people live on the outskirts. So the roads are most crowded towards the beginning that are feeding everybody, that everybody's using that roadway. But then this part, as people peel off, the roads get less and less congested. So they put the fuse here because if something's going to melt, it's going to happen here. And so they say, we're going to protect this wire. We're going to get the fuses in a bit. Look at this picture. Is it series or parallel? It's both. It's parallel because there's 2 routes. But A and B share one of those routes. So this part is series on this particular line, if you just look at that, but since there is a second route, it's parallel here. If I break C, what happens to A and B? They stay on. If I break A, what happens? C stays on, B goes off. If I break B, what happens? C stays on, A goes off. Why does A go off? Because the electricity can't get to the $1 billion. I'm not even try that route. I can do this route all day long. This route's like, I can't go. I'm not even going to try. Let's all go this way. This is a dead end. You don't, when you come to it, if you know there's a dead end, you don't go that way. You take the detour, or hey, a good path. It doesn't have to even be a detour, just a path. All right, that's basically what I have here. Let's see if I can, that would be like doing, let's show it to you. This, now I've just made what that is. If I take this one out, if I take C out, the other two stay on. If I take A out, B goes off. And then this, now A goes out. Yeah. And remember, this light would be brighter than this because this is a direct current, so this one gets first dip. It's not alternating like that one is. That doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Now let's take a look at electrical safety. Grounding. Let's think about it. Let's attack this one like this. You have a ceiling fan. And that ceiling fan is spinning. Because of the wires. You're giving electricity. There's something happening also. Because of all the friction happening in the parts, all the friction, there's going to be static electricity building up on the outside. Separate from everything else, there's going to be static electricity that's trapped there. It wants to get to the ground, but there's no route for it until you come along to grab the chain. You're going to grab the chain, and now all that static electricity has a pathway to the ground through your body. Ow! Okay, and every time you go, oh, here we go. Ow, ow, ow. Okay. So you being smart, you sit there and you go, you know what? I'm tired of getting electrocuted in this stupid house. I'm going to make the chain go all the way to the ground. Instead of that little tiny chain up there, you're going to make a long chain. That way, whenever static electricity builds up, whenever it's on, it's always building up on it. It'll go through the chain instead of me, and it'll always just be going into the ground and never build up. And you're like, that's great. And you're like, hey, I don't have to reach as high. But whenever people come and visit, they're like, why do you have a chain in the middle of your house? And then you explain. They don't have to worry about getting electrocuted because it never builds up enough to hurt. So nobody gets hurt. It's just obnoxious to be there. But then you get an idea. I don't have to have the chain come straight down. I can make the chain go across the ceiling and then come down the wall and touch the ground over there. Now people don't have to walk around the chain. It'll be on the edge of the wall. That's brilliant. And you never get electrocuted because you have a wire to the ground. And you're not the wire. The wire is the wire. And then eventually somebody says to you, or maybe you figure it out, that's so tacky though, having a chain taped to your ceiling. Why don't you just go up into your ceiling? Take that chain and wrap it around up into your ceiling so nobody has to look at it, and then have it come down inside your walls. You can go down inside your walls and up through. Now no one has to see it. That's brilliant. That's what a ground does. A ground is a third wire that attaches to all of your outlets and all of your appliances that takes the electricity up through the ceiling and down the wall to the ground. Probably attaches to the pipe on your water heater. That's what the third hole is on the plug. It's that extra wire that doesn't attach to anything power company, nothing electrical. It just attaches to the device to remove any static electricity off, and it connects to the other third wires that all lead to the earth, to the ground. Now a short circuit, let's go to the next item. A short circuit's an unintended path. You built a circuit and it's great, and a secret route sneaked in. If I take this cord and I take scissors to it, the electricity is supposed to come up the cord, through the plug into my light bulb. Let's plug a light bulb right here. All right. The electricity is supposed to come up through the cord, through the light bulb and back. That's the intended path. But if I took scissors and went yoink, now the electricity can come through the cord, through the scissor, onto the, there's 2 wires here, technically 3 because there's the ground. But now it can go through the wire of the scissors and back. It can skip the bulb and take the extra scissor path back because the scissor is touching all the wires. The scissors are a wire now. Or maybe it's my skin becomes the wire. That's the unintended path, or to drop the toaster. That I like to make toast in the bathtub. So zoomy. No, I don't do it. But if I drop the toaster in, I'm toast because the water and the pipe is the new path. It's the unintended path. Electricity might take both, but really it's going to really just plow through the easiest path. And I might be a part of it. So what we have is we have fuses and circuit breakers. We've built safety devices in so that morons like me can't kill myself. Now, when I was a child, actually pretty much your age, I did something really stupid. I had a lamp in my bedroom, plugged in, you know, it was a regular lamp, not like this. And this is kind of dumb what I'm doing right now. If I stick my finger, now there's supposed to be a light bulb in there, if I stick my finger in there, I'm going to get electrocuted. But what I did as a child, I think I was 1 year younger than you, I was sticking a paper clip in there. I stuck a paper clip in there because I wanted to see what would happen. And I did. It shut down the circuit of the bedroom. All the electricity went off in the bedroom. That was dumb. I found out. Now, I was supposed to get hurt, but I was sitting on a bed. So I did not have access to the ground. The electricity didn't travel through me because it had nowhere to go. I wasn't holding both. It could have gone through me if I had touched the right wires all at the right time. But fortunately, the route that I was a part of was very undesirable because electricity really did not want to go through me for any reason. Had I been standing on the ground, and it was barefooted, it could have all been worse. But because people are smarter than me, adults are, they built into my house and your house a circuit breaker. That circuit breaker popped a switch. It recognized too much current. Now, a lot of our circuits in our houses will allow 20 amps through. If 21 goes through, it's too much for the wires. It shuts it down. It'll melt the wires or kill somebody. So they built safety features in, and on the edges, on the tips of each of those switches in that circuit breaker box there's a number. If ever the current, because you plug too many things in, like Clark W. Griswold on Christmas Vacation, you plug too many things in, you go over that number, it flips a spring-loaded switch. The spring goes boom, shuts it off when it gets tickled with too much electricity. A fuse is the same sort of thing, except it's more sensitive, and it's more for batteries. So circuit breakers are more for your house, plugged in a power company. Fuses for batteries, and the fuse's job is to melt. The fuse's job is to melt, and you have to replace it. So you have a lot of fuses in your car, because your car is all battery powered / the alternator has a generator in it as well, but it's not plugged into a power company, so it's low voltage for the most part, your car is. And so they use a fuse, and if the fuse breaks, then you have to put a new fuse in. It costs like 25 cents, so it's not a big deal. What a fuse does is there's a wire inside at a thickness that will melt at a particular current. Its job is to melt before all the other wires. You know, if you have a group of soldiers, and somebody throws a grenade in the middle of the room, and it's going to go off, and they're all going to die. The one hero in the room does what? He throws himself onto the grenade. He was going to die anyway, and he said, all right, better that one should die than many. So he throws himself on the grenade, and that one takes the sacrifice and dies. The rest live. That's what this guy does. He melts so the rest of the wires don't melt. In your car, if you took out the fuses and then put in wires that wouldn't melt, then if your wires got too much electricity, instead of it shutting down, the rest of the wires would melt instead. And now you have to pay somebody to pull out all of your computer stereo, your car stereo wires, or all of the wires for the blinkers or the air conditioner, or all the other electrical in your car, and then the horn and the power steering. They just pull out all the wires that melted, which would be forever. It's just nice to know, here's the fuse box, I know which fuse it is, pop, because this guy's melting first. You have these GFI things, they pop similar to how the circuit breaker box pops. And it's a little bit more local. This is, you have one per large circuit with a circuit breaker box. This one, you can have several outlets feed off of that. It's just very similar. All right. So a fuse's job is to melt. That's the job of a fuse, is to melt, to sacrifice itself. And if you add, as you add devices to a circuit, you get more and more current through it. If you add routes, as you add more and more routes, you get more and more current through it. And it's harder on the wires. The electricity is happy because it has all these new routes to go, but the wires are carrying all that extra traffic, so it's more likely to melt them. I think that's where we stop. Yes. One more lesson to go. Booyah. See you then.